Did you know that 9 experienced hikers were found dead in the frozen wilderness of Russia? Their tent ripped open from the inside. Their bodies scattered across the snow. Barefoot, half-dressed, and totally terrified, right? This wild scene went down in 1959, deep in the Ural Mountains. Can you imagine? To this day, no one truly knows what happened, but what they found defied every law of nature and reason itself. On January 23, 1959, 9 students from the Ural Polytechnic Institute, led by 23-year-old Igor Dyatlov, set out on a ski trek across the icy northern slopes. Their mission, to conquer Mount Otorten, which literally means "don't go there," in Muncie. How wild is that? The group was young, super ambitious, and totally fearless, ready to take on anything life threw their way. They were just buzzing with excitement and energy. You know, they laughed as they posed for photos, documenting every moment of their journey. None of them knew they would never come back. On February 1st, they pitched their tents on the steep slope of Kolet Shakul, known as the Mountain of the Dead. The wind was howling like crazy. The temperature dropped to a bone-chilling -30 degrees Celsius. They pitched their tent on an exposed hillside, a strange decision for experienced hikers. They cooked dinner, wrote in their diaries, and went to sleep. Everything seemed normal, until the night fell silent and an eerie chill filled the air. Sometime after midnight, something terrified them enough to cut their way out of their tent from the inside and flee barefoot into the snowstorm. What could possibly make 9 people run out into the freezing dark, barefoot, and without coats? It's wild, right? The rescue team sprang into action as soon as they realized the group was missing. They were ready to do whatever it took to find them. 26 days later, searchers finally found the tent, half buried in snow. It was slashed open from the inside, like something wild had happened. Everything was still perfectly lined up. Boots, jackets, and even a flask of vodka just sitting there, untouched, like they were waiting for someone to come back and grab them. Then came the bodies, and it sent chills down my spine. 2 hikers were discovered near the tree line, barefoot and looking completely lost, like they had been wandering for ages, and dressed only in underwear. Their hands burned as if they'd tried to light a fire. 3 more were discovered between the tent and the forest, frozen in crawling positions, as if desperately trying to return. But those last 4? Oh man, they're gonna uncover something way darker, trust me. You're not ready for the wild twists they've got in store. At last, after what felt like an eternity, the snow finally melted away, revealing the hikers who had been stuck for ages. When it finally happened, investigators were completely shocked. One woman was missing her tongue and eyes. Can you imagine that? It felt like a massive punch to the head, totally smashing their skull to bits. It was wild, like a roller coaster ride that just wouldn't stop. 2 others had broken ribs and massive internal injuries, but no external wounds. The pathologist said their damage was like a car crash. Strangely enough, there were absolutely no footprints from anyone else, no signs of a struggle anywhere, and definitely no evidence of any animal attack. How weird is that? The only tracks in the snow were made by the hikers themselves. It felt like the mountain had flipped the script on them, right? So eerie. You won't believe it. Out of nowhere, another wild clue just popped up, and it totally grabbed my attention. Seriously, it's like the universe is throwing surprises at us left and right. Several of the bodies contained traces of radiation, at levels far beyond normal. Some rescuers even reported that the hikers' clothing glowed faintly at night. Locals and military observers claimed they saw strange orange spheres of light hovering above the mountains on the night of the tragedy. The Soviet government jumped into action, sealing off the area in no time. Military folks grabbed all the evidence and told everyone to keep quiet. the investigation was abruptly closed, with the final report stating the cause of death was an unknown compelling force. Unknown, compelling, force. Theories just kept piling up over the years. Some folks thought it was an avalanche, but honestly, no signs of one ever popped up anywhere. Isn't that wild? Others believed the hikers accidentally wandered into a Soviet weapons test, poisoned or blasted by experimental technology. Conspiracy theorists whispered of aliens, infrasound, or even Yeti attacks. And some believed the hikers turned on each other, driven insane by something in the dark. Their journals had a totally different vibe, full of unity, laughter, and amazing times together. You could really feel the joy and connection in every page. Even the final photos on their camera roll showed smiling faces building snow shelters. And then, a final blurred image. Bright orbs glowing in the night sky. It was the last thing they ever saw, and honestly, it flipped their world upside down forever. I mean, can you imagine how that felt? It was a total game changer. In 2019, Russian authorities reopened the case. After months of research, they concluded it was caused by a slab avalanche. But experts disagreed. The terrain didn't fit avalanche conditions. The injuries were too severe. The tense position didn't match snowslide patterns. Families of the survivors are saying it's just a cover-up, you know. They feel like it's a way to hush up all those years of whispers and rumors, right? It's really frustrating for them, because even 60 years later, the government still keeps certain files classified. The truth remains buried under ice and secrecy. The mountain stands silent now, still known as Dyatlov Pass, named after the leader who never made it back home. It's a haunting reminder of that fateful journey. Tourists flock in, scientists are arguing their points, and conspiracy theorists are still digging for answers. You know, it's like a wild mix of curiosity and debate happening all around us. But the snow remembers, you know. Underneath it all, there's the echo of 9 young souls, trapped in fear, their story forever written in the frost. It's haunting, right? Could it be that it wasn't just nature or man? Maybe it was something totally different, you know, something we can't even imagine. When the wind howls across the Ural Mountains, some hikers say you can still hear voices in the storm, faint, trembling, calling for help that never came. Up on that mountain, something was definitely lurking in the dark, just waiting for us to find it. It felt like we were on the edge of an adventure, you know. What do you think really went down on that mountain? I'm honestly so curious. Was it wild, mysterious, or just plain weird? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.